If this isn't enough, I don't know what would be. Yeah, 9/9s seems good. Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be playing the Affinity deck that I've just seen a lot of channels pop off about and just claim is kind of one of the best decks to come out in the new set, and it does look appealing. A lot of people have seemed to have a lot of success with it. I don't know how well it's going to go, but we will definitely see. The list we are running exactly right now is Swayze's list. I haven't seen this person's channel all too often, but I stumbled upon it with them. They went perfect on the day. I think they said they went 11-0. And one of the main pieces that they brought up was the doll maker shop, but we're going to talk about the new cards and we'll cover this one very, very quickly. The main thing this is going to do is help our affinity production. And whenever one or more non-toy creatures we control attack, we make a 1/1 white toy artifact creature. At one point, we have 4 copies of this in play. So that's interesting enough on its own, but it's a wild wasteland out there sometimes. But with that said, we'll start covering some of the new cards. Nesting Bot being the first one. This is kind of the most generic one, but it does start our engines, and that matters for our second card we'll talk about. But it enters, it's a 1/1. Whenever it dies, it makes a 1/1. Both are artifacts, both dodge go for the throat. Max speed getting a 1/0 is not necessarily all that important, but it can matter whenever you're doing chip damage, and it does get a little bit bigger whenever you get a doll maker's shop online. This is also a 2-mana card, by the way. If you're looking at the curve, it does look a little bit more appealing. This is obviously going to fall down here somewhere, so 4 is kind of our highest, just as a quick note. But for our second card is this core card here. Now, I think eventually I'm going to play this in a Simulacrum Synthesizer deck, but we have been playing it in more of an aggro shell, at least that I've seen recently, because of its max speed ability. But its power is equal to the number of artifacts we control. So we have a lot, or everything kind of makes an artifact in general if it's not necessarily an artifact itself. And it also has start your engine, so we have about 8 ways to do it, I believe, that can start your engine. Outside of that, you just won't get any build up towards it until we play one of those. We have max speed on this card. It says whenever you cast an artifact, you may spend 1. If you do, copy it. That works very well when you're talking about Memory Guardian overall. A 5-mana card, but it has affinity on it. Affinity just means however many artifacts you have, it reduces that spell by that cost. I guess there's a spell with affinity for artifacts costs 1 less to cast for each artifact controlled. We don't even have to own the card. We can just control it, which is nice. So other than that, like, this obviously gets reduced, which is super nice. Whenever you're kind of casting this for 1, we spend 1 mana. We make another copy of this 3/4 flyer, which is very, very cool. So outside of that, we are using the glyph as one of our kind of strong attacking pieces, because obviously buffing up a Nesting Bot into a 5/4 is nice. Making a map or a clue token into a 5/4 is nice. And then just having, if that creature dies, we can potentially hit something else, like a Dust Rose or like another core if needed. Outside of that, we are playing the big card of the deck that is 7 mana. Idealistically, this is 2 mana, maybe 3 or 4 mana at most. But this also has affinity for artifacts. You draw 3 cards, you gain 3 life. Basically a nice hand reset overall. And then we're playing Urza. I do think this is by far going to be our weakest card. We will see kind of how that goes overall. But I do think this card is kind of the diciest one in here, as it is kind of a bad rate on its own. 4 mana for a creature that can get hit with cut down never settles well with me. Obviously, nobody wants to spend their entire turn to just get time walked by a cut down. But besides that, hopefully it's fine. Hopefully we create enough pressure that this is able to stick on an empty board, at least in terms of cards in their hand, and then we're able to kind of buff everything out and win that way. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and dive into the games. Again, this is the exact list from Swayze. There's been a lot of other lists I've seen. They went an 11-0. We're going to try to repeat that process the best we can, and we're going to dive right in and see how it goes. Hope you all enjoyed the games. And I got a lot of deck cards, I guess, now that I'm looking at the hand a little bit more. But we're really going to have to rely on the doll maker shop here. Play it on 2. Hope it's good enough. We do need a thing to attack. We play a lot of 1-drops, but we just don't happen to have any in this opener. Rabbits. Sure. Play here. Once again, no real way to fire off anything from our hand. Maybe should have mulliganed, but on the play, kind of hoping to find a piece. So we were just going from there. And just like that, we do just so happen to find one. Go here. Go here. Pop here. Now we got a couple of artifacts kind of queued up and ready to go. This does have Ward 2. We could technically turn it into a creature, which wouldn't be an awful idea. Could also attach this to here, making it a bit bigger. But again, Ward 2 being a big, like, kind of advocate for good stuff for us. The only real issue is, like, this is going to be an awful card to try to remove here later. Not necessarily going to get a ton of attacking in. Well, interesting. Attach this here. Hold it back as a blocker. Probably most likely going to have to see whatever this hits off the discover mechanic here. The way it's going to be. 2 white mana. That works out better than anything, to be honest. I would like to re-equip. What a combo. So good, in fact, that they decided that it wasn't even worth attacking anymore. This is where we can get a lot of value. We can do this. We can attack here. I doubt we see a trade, but yeah. Speed go up. We play Memory Guardian. Get kind of more and more creatures involved, and then we're looking to draw some cards, gain some life. 2 more creatures. This is going up to 5. I feel like the answer is to block out on that. This just takes 6. This is what, gain 3? Yeah. Max speed can now happen, but I don't quite have the mana available to do that. We're going to fire this off, see if we can't hit another land, in which we do. Play this down. It's fully active. I will swing with my 1 flyer, because we need a non-toy to attack for this to happen. And then we can look to upgrade this in a couple of turns. What should we go for here? More life. Play this. Maybe start copying some stuff. I think the copies make a lot of sense. Also, the 8 power is obviously going to reach pretty high. They could play another kind of break the spell. Oh, it's only enchantment. Wow. Okay. Interesting card to be queuing up overall. And it looks like we're potentially going to escape this game now. Which is obviously nice for us. We don't necessarily have max speed right now, but we definitely will. And we're going to drop 3 creatures in this turn. So our deck absolutely taking over now. It's not entirely close. The doll maker's shop putting in maximum effort that it can. Honestly, we throw this up. We spend the mana, we make a copy. It's obviously going to be much better than kind of one of these creatures. And I'll play another flyer just so we have creatures in the air. And then they might think that they can tank it. But once we activate one of these shops, all of our creatures are going to get so massive that it's not even going to become close. Even if we do have to block out or something like that. Shelter by Ghost could be a good card. But I still just don't think it matters here. As long as we live this turn. Exile, and now this will discover. Dust Rose, sure, we'll play. We'll sacrifice here, because we do have to do that. In an additional cast. They can move some counters around if they want, but that's going to call a game. But little do they know. Already game, technically. Because view battlefield, unless, of course, they have another one of these. But activating here, creatures you control have base power and toughness equal to the number of creatures we control. So let's say we lose 3 creatures here, but we have 4 here alone, so that's +4/+4. And then if we say we lost 3 or say even 4, that's +5/+5 across the board, and that was from an all-out attack from them. And we're immediately going to reload the board, or we can do this, or just play this instead and go from there. So we move on. All right, opponent goes first. We have kind of the ideal hand, especially to get affinities started here. We have Artifact, an Artifact Maker, a Dust Rose, kind of able to absorb anything here. It sucks that they're going to get the value here for this, but we're going to go with Nesting Bot, because if I can attack with Nesting Bot to get the engines going, then I will. We could have played a Siren, I guess, because Siren can still attack. I forget that starter engine and putting damage on your opponent in the same turn works the exact way you want it to. But fear of missing out, a much more desirable card to pick up with this Dust Rose Reliquary anyway. So we will have to do it a bit awkwardly. Don't know why I don't start off that, but we'll play a Siren here. Siren enter. We will play a Dust Rose. Sacrifice this map. I understand Affinity goes down, but it also stays the same, kind of. This cannot block, which is one of the reasons we do it this way. We turn that speed up a bit, just for if we do draw the card, obviously. Also giving our nesting bot a little bit more reach. I have an unfortunate card to mill over. They already have enough creatures in there, 3 right away. Land is typically the hardest one to put in that graveyard, but I understand getting rid of that as well. I mean, if they want to trade, I'd do it. I doubt it. But if I can increase my speed, they do trade. Okay, I'm actually mind blown. I understand like shutting the speed off, but I'm not entirely sold that I would do that. Or here, I guess we'll end turn and we'll probably have to look to do this just so we don't get stuck here. Land, there's the hardest one, and there's the sorcery. So any other thing, and then these are active. Yeah, planeswalkers in their deck. Obviously they have enchantments in their deck. There goes a land, which they already did, so just getting that out of the way so they don't hit another one. Get rid of my artifact. And that puts a sorcery in there. Sure. We'll chump 1. Okay, Dollmaker can help a lot here. Dollmaker? Let's just take the damage. Make another artifact. Increase the speed potentially. They have a pause. I'm not entirely sure what that pause is, but they have one. Leaving this so whenever we attack, we can hopefully cast this for pretty cheap. We can get max speed online too. Torch. I never understand the milling post delirium, but I guess you might be playing around like graveyard pieces, so it does make some sense. Ooh, I gotta watch out for the 1 red card that can deal double damage, don't I? Ooh, okay. But now we get kind of perma blockers here, which is pretty sick. We start off with this. We attack with our flyer. Turning more creatures on. Now our affinity card is up and ready to go. We kind of sit in that same spot we sit last game, where we kind of are just a turn away from activating one of these and just hitting them for lethal. A lot of lands. But we play here, we play this. Get quite a bit of blockers ready to go. Also, one reminder, if one of these is turned on, one of these kind of porcelain galleries here, creatures you control have base power and toughness equal to the number of creatures. When we attack, as long as we attack with a non like toy creature, they will all my creatures will then get +2/+2 following that turn. I do have to be a bit careful here. There could be like that double striking nonsense card. So I will chump a little. It's some red card. I cannot think of what it's called. And now we have to kind of maybe do some math, see if our opponent is down and out here. So that's +3, +2 more. That's +5 each. So they go... Yeah, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that... How's this work? Have base power and toughness equal. So they won't keep this 1/1 as an additional buff. It'll be slightly smaller than that, correct? I believe so. I'm pretty positive it'll be slightly less. Because we'll make 2. And then there'll be 5 total creatures for base power 5/5. Okay. I'm pretty sure that that's how that's going to end up happening. So I'm going to activate here. I'm going to see what I can draw. Okay. Best card in my deck. Say what? Now, hopefully... Alright. Thankfully, we get to declare that as an attacker, and we'll make 4 of these. What a interesting situation to be in. That's for sure. We have all 4 Dwarf Maker shops. We are in our top 17. Yesterday, when I was playing the combo deck, I was just hoping to find certain cards like this, and I just couldn't. But here we are doing it pretty easily, which is funny. Say its name, grab back any card, I believe. Gives haste, right? Other creatures you control gain 1/0 in haste. Put 1/1 counter on this creature, sure. And it's an exhaustive effect, so this should bring this back, right? Yeah. Pretty sick. Pretty sick play overall. Now my opponent is at 15. So I just block like this. Okay. This card's super sick. I like this goblin card a lot. I like the fact that you can just activate it right away. But here we are. Sure. Unlock. We have 4 4s. So as you see, our math was correct. However, these are going to be massive because now they're going to go all the way to 8/8s. And we should have it covered because 2 alone causes lethal to happen. And just like that, we come away with the win. Honestly, this card, best card in deck, smile. The Dollmaker's Shop. We played it at the beginning of last split when Dustborn came out. And here we are again. New set dropped. We're playing it again. So, pretty funny, but we'll move on. All right, so this seems like more of an ideal hand here than what I've kind of played with already. Just getting to start off on the play. Of course, play obviously way more fun than the draw. But getting to start off, Nexting Bot, combat. Get that speed to 2 already. Very, very nice. Go for the throw to dead card if that's what they're on. But they obviously can play nowhere to runs and stuff like that. This being a little bit short on the kind of power train sucks a little. Shoot the Sheriff is also another card we could be playing. Deep Counterbat. Probably going to take our Dust Rose. Or our Voyage Home. Voyage Home obviously being a very strong card here. Memory Guardian also good. This is a weird couple of cards that they kind of have to deal with. But depending on how it goes, I don't know if I should have Dust Rose come in or not. Voyage Home, a good card, but I don't know if it's worth that in comparison to like hitting an Unstoppable Slasher or something of the sort. Land, and if our opponent's not going to do anything, I will take it in my own hand to make this as big as I can. So I put enough pressure on that, like playing an Unholy Annex here just feels really bad. Obviously, I don't want Unholy Annex being a problem for too long. As we already stated, nowhere to run, come in. Sure. Does make sense to me. He's now gone. Another land, so that kind of makes me want to attack this card. Combat. Here we go. Down to 9. Sacrifice this because it replaces itself. Going to be just right as we got this land drop to make. Fire this off. 3 life, 3 cards, and a couple of dead ones. So if they do just play like a discard effect in general, we have plenty of kind of fodder cards to throw. We will throw that a card waste away, as our mana is pretty good so far. Not too much trouble looking at it. Obviously, we're hoping to draw not a land here. Yeah, play that Unholy Annex. Unstoppable Slasher. We do have a pretty good card held back for that. Definitely think we have to go all out here. by no time. 2-1 will get blocked. And we did draw a land, unfortunately. Now we make a little 1-1. We do play our land. Play another nesting bot. And then we hold off here. Obviously, because we're empty-handed, but they don't necessarily know that. Although they can probably figure that out on their own, considering we're an affinity deck. Make a big creature here. So 2 of these will make contact. It'll be 2 1-1s. Or it'll be 2 4-4s. Once again, Porcelain Gallery. Just calling game. Who would have thought that this card right here would be our Affinity Masterclass piece? I literally saw the card and I was like, that makes sense. That looks good. It's a way to make Affinity pretty well. But what a wild card for us to work on in this type of deck. Okay, opponents first. This is kind of an ideal hand in a way. We're going to see if these can kind of save us in time to play this against red while they're on the play, which is obviously tough in general. We'll play our Spyglass Siren. Kind of a dead draw here. At least it feels. I do feel like this is the weakest card in the deck. I understand it's a buff, but as good as this has been, I don't feel like this is necessarily necessary, especially with how our game's gone. Now, if they swing the Heartfire Hero, I block, obviously. But they do not, so we go right into making artifacts. We're going to have to find a Dust Rose eventually, or we are just going to lose the game. Or just any type of kind of effect to get things on the board a little bit quicker than what we're doing. Obviously, they have interaction, but I'm going to force them to use it. Maybe they have a shock for the Siren. And then we're just going to lose the mono red when they're on the play. Okay. Fair, I guess. I'm going to miss out on damage here, but we're going to do it intentionally this way. Hopefully. Combat. Alright, they allow us to make 2 more creatures. That's the thing, like, we're not making creatures if we can't attack with the Siren last game and this game. Here. Obviously, don't isolate the Siren to make it any worse. So we just kind of wait. I just talked smack about this card. Might be our saving grace here, to be honest. Double. If they have another shock. This is like I think they monster trades last turn, right? If that's what they had. I will throw a double block here. They go for a burst lightning upstairs. Okay. Interesting. So one of these does live. Nah, I guess not upstairs per se, but you know what I mean. Enchant artifact is a golem creature with base power and toughness 5/4 in addition to its other types. Does this allow me to make 2 more creatures? Does it keep the toy? No, in addition to its other types. Reading the card explains the card. We almost messed up. But we did not. Not today, anyway. But Urza, gonna have to put in some value here. Put in a little bit of work. We're dead. Will I block this? And I lose my Urza if I do? Because obviously I block. It dies. I can't imagine they don't hit the Urza. But if I don't block, I take 3 and then I get to make 2 tokens, which seems better-ish. There's a Spyglass Siren, which is nice. So, combat, attack here. Hey, what's up, boss? I do think we go for the life gain here. Bridge the gap as best we can. Obviously, we could glyph this, but we can always do that next turn. There's a Dust Rose. Tough, tough, tough. So we just have to survive this turn. Spyglass Siren being a great blocker for Screaming Nemesis. And the mana taps wrong. Let's go. That's all we need. That is all we need for this. We have a land. We can pump everything. They'll have base power plus an additional 2/2. Is that good enough? It feels like it should be. Do I remove one of these and then they remove Urza? Or do I just do this? I like this play, I think. Because what do I have? If I go into this turn, I'll make 2 more. I'll attack. Their base power will all be 5, 6, 7. They block 2 plus. That should be enough, right? Yeah, no blocks here. That should be enough. This should be enough. If this isn't enough, I don't know what would be. Yeah, 9/9s seems good. I don't know what I was thinking. Seems like enough. Once again, best card in our deck. I thought we were going to lose that game, to be honest. The pace in which they came out of the game and out of the gates with, going right from like this into this, the win. Very cool. All right, opponent going first here is like the hardest part. We'll be fine. I mean, we get a draw, we play our tap land. Our kind of early game doesn't really change that much, whether we get a 1-drop or not. We can play this post that turn. That's 2 artifacts. If this is obviously if everything goes well. And then this will be 3 mana. Math is hard. 4, 3. Yeah, it'd be 3 mana. But yeah, I think we're going to keep this. Hasn't steered us quite wrong yet. Best card in our deck, not close. At least in the first 4 games I've played. Best card in our deck, not close. Opponent finally keeps. We're ready to go. See a swamp. The rest. Will they take our best card, not close? I have no idea. I know the glyph is honestly a threatening card a lot of people see. Yes. Yes, team. That's exactly what we want. I think I'm going to stick with the game plan, though. Play this tap, play here. Go for the door. Even though I guess the rest is possible. Maybe we should play this a different way. I'm going to play here. Okay. Maybe it's a go for the third hand. Unholy Annex online. Land would be best draw. Untap preferably. We miss. Unfortunately, we miss. We play here. We attack. This will go to 2 right before it hits. So a small amount of damage. And kind of a flyer here would obviously suck. But we can outpace it a bit. Oh, missing land drop with extra draws, huh? Interesting. So we can play bot, attack, make our little dude. It'll kind of just depend how they want to do this. They could just eat the 1/1, but I could see them trading off the 4/3. I don't think there's a world in which they take this damage. If they take it, that's best case scenario, not even close. But I want to get our speed up as well. I think that's what they're deciding. Do they just answer the core now? I think this decision is much easier if they hit a land, but maybe they didn't. If they hit a land, I think they're just trading it and saying, okay, let's just try to go to the late game. Maybe they'll trade it anyway. They do, unfortunately. So we do lose a little bit here. We're not necessarily going to be able to cast that, and we did miss a land. Me and our opponent are both kind of in the same boat, which is quite funny. But I do think getting that max speed on is pretty much everything that matters here. Down to 11. Unfortunate kind of draws, man. We'll make a replacement token regardless, I guess. Right? I think I have to sacrifice the speed here. Like, I'm not going to get max speed, but I'm also not able to use it. Remember, if we would have attacked with the toy and that, and it killed off the toy, we'd have just replaced the toy. We'd still be down an artifact, I believe. That's how that would work. So I'm going to play double 3/4 flyers. Go from there. Obviously, we can just kind of chump block. Missing the lands right now obviously sucks, but we do have a way to draw some additional cards here. Even if they're... I just saw this thing's face, and I am a little upset about it. Just a little. And by a little, I mean a lot. However, are me and my opponent playing the Can't Find Land Simulator? They have one more. They have two more. Unfair. Now they're cheating. Is what it is. Well, let's see what's up. Gildred's Edict. Sacrifice non-token creature. Obviously, we lose our flyer. Just another removal. A second Shieldred's Edict, even. We do have one non-toy creature, so we can make another toy. Sounds weird when I say it out loud, but we just need to hit our land. We just need to hit our stuff. They take the draw. Perfect. And we hit the land. Huge. Do I move in to strike? Will they have double removal? Well, even if they have double removal, they won't be able to then play the stuff they need to win, right? Let's move to combat. Let us attack out here. Put as much pressure on as I can. Anoint. Just missing this creature because it's 5 mana. Quite funny indeed. We play here, and I think I go for the land hit with an Urza ready to go, and we do hit. Okay, so even if it is play what's his face, we should be fine. Archfiend. If it's a double attack here, we let it hit. We let both of them hit. If it's one attack, do we still let both hit? Or let it hit? They have one spell to potentially remove. I think we just have to let it go because we're going for lethal here. Oh, wait, no, we're not. They go to 6, right? Well, it's 3. They get +3/+3. Or +2/+2, making them 3/3s. So if Urza resolves, cut down cannot do it. But go for the third technically could. All out attack here. A block, and 2 3/3s can make contact. And attacking with the slasher will do them in. We just get enough to reach. And Urza in that spot. And last game was good. Maybe I was wrong. Who knows? But we move on once again. All right, everyone, here we are. I did my outro, and then I started hacking up a lung, so I had to like stop doing my outro. But yeah, the deck is pretty cool. I do have kind of one big gripe. It's a bit short of a video, and we kind of showed everything that it could show off. The only real thing we could do from there is kind of just like keep playing until either we get kind of what the games look like the same, or we just start getting like various games or worse games and stuff like that. But here we are. The main issue I have from the outside looking in, and this is definitely something that I kind of had the mindset of when we were going into the list, is there's a lot of dead cards with a lot of opening hands that you'll have to kind of be worried about, and it could lead you to mulling to 6 and maybe even 5, which mulling to 5 and best of 1 feels like an auto concession anyway. You can win them sometimes, but as fast as like red and stuff is, if you're on the draw and you're operating with less cards and you don't keep the correct ones, I think recently my mull to 5 win was because I kept an Agatha Soul Cauldron and my opponent was a Graveyard Matter deck, and I was just able to kind of like tease the game out. But having Urza as a 4-mana card is tough. Having Memory Guardian, if you only have one of these, means it's like a 4-mana card, so it's kind of tough to get it online. Voyage Home fits that same kind of category. Dust Rose needs a permanent in play, and so doesn't Glyph. So some of these awkward hands where like you play a land, you play this, and then it dies, and maybe your turn's like Dollmaker shop after that. Pass. You still can't use the Dust Rose. You still can't use the Glyph. This is still turned off and won't be turned online anytime soon. And then Urza is still looking like a goofy dead card. But that is kind of the risk you run. But when the deck runs well, as we saw in today's video, you can kind of see how all these cards kind of come together and do their thing. And it just feels like nothing can go wrong in a situation like that. I do think arguably one of the better cards in the deck and one of the better cards to come out is this card. I kind of was a little confused what the hype was about it. I understood it was this card entirely rode on starter engines being good. I saw this being played a lot, and I was like, well, I feel like Market Gnome has been kind of a similar card because it dies, it draws you a card, and then gains a life, and the draw is kind of equally as good, at least on surface level, as starter engine. The starter engine works so well with like the core here, as we saw ourselves make a copy of the Memory Guardian, that it makes it kind of like worth it on its own. But also the two bodies has been pretty important, and the Gopher Throat can't remove either of them. And obviously Affinity matters for our Affinity cards. But other than that, this deck is super craftable in general. I don't typically count lands in kind of my crafting guide, especially a 2-color deck, because if you're looking to craft a deck anyway, you probably already have the lands. At least that's kind of my mindset going in. And a card I'd be careful crafting is Urza. I do think this just feels like such a bad rate that it's hard for me to justify to ever say craft this card. But Dollmaker Shop has been kind of a token creatures deck, a token deck creature maker for a while. And this card was good with like kind of the Annabelle, the red-white card. Dollmaker Shop was good there. It's been good with enduring cards. So this card has got a lot of play in a lot of different decks if you're willing to play those decks. This card might be worth it. Obviously, 4 mythics is a lot to ask for, but 4 rares from the new set, and that kind of being all you really need to craft when it comes to rares, as the rest of these are commons or uncommons, makes this a pretty budget-friendly deck overall. If I said, all right, maybe cut Urza, just add some other removal, it's going to cost you 4 rares, 4 mythics if you have the lands. And not most people will be like, okay, new set, spent 8 wild cards, really outside of commons and uncommons, as if you play for a while. Like, I have some rares, some mythics, but I would have thousands of commons or uncommon if I just didn't try to bulk craft an entire set. You'll get those, so commons, uncommons will never really be an issue. But with that said, that's going to do it for me today. I know it's a bit shorter of a video. I'm going to Chicago for the Magic Con. I will be working it. If anybody wants to stop by and say hi, I'll be there. But with that said, I hope you all enjoy. Catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.